The murder of this California cop, Officer Singh, now reigniting the debate over the state's sanctuary laws.
This is a criminal illegal alien with prior criminal activity that should have been reported to ICE. We were prohibited, law enforcement was prohibited because of sanctuary laws, and that led to the encounter with Officer Singh.
The accused cop killer had 2 prior DUIs and alleged gang ties, but under California law, SB 54, local authorities are banned from reporting this information to ICE. Here to debate how to stop this from happening again, Democratic strategist Roger Fisk and conservative political analyst and attorney Ken Chase. Thank you both for joining us this morning. I mean, it's a tough story to talk about because it really just kind of tugs at your heartstrings. Everybody can feel that raw emotion when you see that picture of Officer Singh taken just hours before he was killed with his family on Christmas. It's just terrible. Roger, how do you make the argument that we shouldn't have a wall?
First off, my condolences to the officer's family and his colleagues. And the officer was an immigrant as well, and
legally.
That needs to be remembered. Of course, I'm just pointing that out. There's 800 exceptions to the sanctuary law, and gang activity is one of them. So there was absolutely nothing stopping them from sharing this information with federal authorities. So I think as we get more into the details of this situation, the president's lunge to make this a direct correlation to the wall is not going to be proven out by the facts. I don't want to jump in and politicize it. After the Las Vegas shooting, this White House themselves said, let's not jump in right after a shooting and start trying to make political points. So I don't want to do that. But there's a long, long chasm between this situation and the president's agenda for the wall. I don't see them as a direct connection at all.
I guess, Ken, though, it's hard to make the argument after, we've seen multiple times, multiple Americans have lost their lives at the hands of illegal immigrants. So how do you not have that conversation?
Well, you have to have the conversation. And President Trump was elected in 2016 by the American people, and he's made no mistake of what his intent is with regard to the wall. Let the president do his job. The Democrats can end this shutdown, this standoff in 10 minutes. The Democrats control 1/2 of one of the 3 chambers of government, and they should not hold the will of the American people hostage. This is a circumstance where the American people have chosen one thing, and Washington and the bubble of Washington is doing another, and it really should stop.
Roger, do you see any way to compromise on the border wall?
Well, I think if the president demonstrated a broader appetite for an actual policy conversation, for example, he never really brings up ports, for example, which are far more vulnerable and in many cases are more a point of entry for things like drugs. So it doesn't seem to me like a policy conversation for him. It's anecdote driven, like as we're seeing right now. And it's much more focused on political points and playing to his base rather than a broader conversation. He's facing a very interesting opportunity right now, and were I in a position to give him advice, I would say the next couple days could really determine a lot of the tone and the flavor and the content of this year. If he were to pivot and to just take a breath and try to reorient and become president of the entire United States and start acting that way, these problems might not go away, but they would probably get better. If he insists on just being president of his base and just looking at these issues through a political lens and constantly throwing red meat to his base, then they're going to remain political in the absence of him demonstrating a larger policy appetite for a comprehensive conversation about border security and immigration.
Ken, final word, do you agree with that?
Not at all. And that's Washington for you, Jillian, right there. Everybody's giving the president, from the other side of the aisle, everybody's giving the president advice. Listen to us. He's sitting there in his Oval Office on a holiday waiting for the Democrats to come to the table to compromise for a deal. And what we hear now is demagoguing the issue, pandering to the Democrat base, and it's not helping. And it's not going to help the American people.
It's amazing he can be both the victim and the champion in every situation.
Well, Roger and Ken, I'm sure this debate is not over, but we do appreciate you guys joining us now. We are out of time on this one for today. Have a good New Year.
Thank you, you too.
Have a great New Year.